we are going to present you with the history of Israel. Israel is known for its great stories. These stories are spoken over and over again across the globe through their holy books and holy places. They have God stories, kid stories, fantasy stories, military leader stories, prophet stories, king stories, and political stories too. All this started from one man, and his name is Abraham, who was also known as Abraham. According to historians and Bible researchers, it is clearly told that Abraham was not the first choice of Lord Jehovah. It was Terah, who was his father, was the first choice, and in midway something happened and he was not able to fulfill his calling, and then Lord waited, that is Lord Jehovah waited for Abraham, and he was rechristened as Abraham, and this land of Canaan was promised by the Lord Jehovah himself to Abraham. The descendants of Abraham are Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, who settled them in Egypt. After one point in time, they became captives in Egyptian empire, and they were looking for a redeemer, and the redeemer came in the form of Moses, the superhero who took them out of the captive from Egyptian empire. And the greatest story unfolds where the Red Sea was broke open in two halves and people were walking through the Red Sea. And then Joshua took over and he ensured the people settled there in Israel, in the land of Canaan. And then they had the military leaders, the kings, and a lot of prophets and invasions. But our concentration is going to be primarily about the 400 silent years of Israel in the history. According to Protestant Bible, they have 66 books, 39 Old Testament and 27 New Testament books. There are two halves. The first half, Old Testament, which consists of 39 books. The last book of that is Malachi, and the first book of New Testament is Matthew. The 400 years which we are going to talk about falls between these two. At the end of the Old Testament, in the book of Malachi, you can see that people of Israel were just out of the captive from Babylon and they settled in Israel again. The people were very united and they didn't have a king once they came back, even though the royal bloodline was existing in the form of Zerubbabel. The Jews were very particular in following the law which was given to them through Moses. And every Jew's heart relishes the temple which was built in Jerusalem by King Solomon. But when they came back, that magnanimous temple was not existing anymore. It was just a miniature of that. They had priests and high priests who were serving in the temple during the day of Sabbath. And as I told you, people were very united and cultured. Just 4 pages away in the Bible, you can see the New Testament unfolds before our eyes. And the person who is reading it for the first time will definitely think the new world has dawned in Israel. Everything was completely changed. It was primarily because there were a lot of changeover going across the globe, and this piece of land was also under the rule of Rome, because the power shifted from east to west and Rome was ruling across the globe. And here the Romans had a king in the name of Herod the Great. But according to the law of Moses, the royal bloodline should be from the bloodline of Jacob. But this Herod the Great was from the bloodline of Esau, who was the counterpart of Jacob. And then they had the temple, but the temple was destroyed many times during this 400 silent years, and they rebuilt it partially, and the new concept of synagogue emerged, and it was built across the Jewish cities. So the Sabbath was happening across the synagogues during the Sabbath day, and people were worshipping there. And then they had the high priests and priests, but in the Old Testament, according to the law of Moses, these priests and high priests should be from the bloodline of Aaron, who call themselves as Levites. But in those days, in the New Testament days, what happened was those high priests and priest positions were auctioned, and whoever bids high will become the priests and high priests there. I told you people were very close-knit and united once they came back and settled in Israel. But when you read the New Testament, people were divisioned in different ways. They were calling themselves as Sadducees, Pharisees, Essenes, Maccabees, etc. What are all this? These are generally the names which they give themselves according to the beliefs, and these beliefs are just from one book, which were bisected from one book, I can say. So what happened? Why so many differences in this land? What exactly happened in those 400 years? We are going to look at that in the videos to come. Stay tuned, subscribe to our YouTube channel and share your comments and thoughts and share it with your friends. Thank you so much.